Am I the a-hole for slapping my stepmother? To add, this is my first time writing this, so please be kind. I was told by a friend to write and see people's reactions. I am 19, have an older brother, 23, and around 4 years ago, my father, 42, got married to my stepmother, 35, after leaving my mother, 41. My mother is French, and my father is from America, and after 5 months of leaving my mother, my father started to date my stepmother, and a couple months later, they got married. My stepmother has 2 children, a boy, Henry, 13, and a daughter, Hannah, 8. My relationship with my stepmother isn't great, but we agree on some things. The incident happened 5 weeks ago when I was celebrating my 19th birthday. As guests began to arrive and the party started, it was time to blow out the candles. And before I could have done that, my mother came in the country to surprise me, and along with her, she brought a gold bracelet with my name on it and my horoscope sign engraved onto it as well. My stepsister saw the bracelet and immediately wanted it, but my stepmother told her no. Noted, she has a habit of wanting to take things that don't belong to her, and her mother encourages her behavior. I spoke to my father about it, and I even threatened him that I would move to France and live with my mother if it didn't stop. After blowing out the candles, she came up to me to ask for it, but I told her no. But I was stupid and left it on the table with the other gifts. Later into the night, I heard my mother shouting, and that's when I see what had happened. It was my mother and my stepmother arguing, and behind my stepmother was my stepsister with the bracelet around her hand. A moment later, my father came to try to calm both of them down, as both me and my mother pointed out that my stepsister took the bracelet even after I told her no. My father then told my stepsister to hand it over, but she throwed a tantrum and tried running away, but I grabbed her hand and pulled the bracelet off in a flash. And within a second, my stepmother pushed me and slapped me for grabbing her daughter. I would admit that when I grabbed her, I did squeeze her a bit tightly. And in the heat of the moment, I slapped my stepmother back. My father then yelled at me for hitting my stepmother, and soon after, everyone had heard the commotion while my stepmother cried at the top of her lungs and saying that I slapped her. My stepbrother started to argue, but soon calmed down after my brother and a couple of cousins on my father's side spoke to him. I left the party with my mother and brother, and I spent 2 days at my mother's hotel before she left. When I got back home, my stepmother and her children didn't say a word to me, only throwing hints at me. And my father hardly spoke to me due to me not apologizing. But a week after the incident, I started to get texts and calls from my stepmother's family saying how horrible of a person I am for hitting my stepmother. It got a little annoying, and I complained to my father, but he hasn't told my stepmother anything to my knowledge. And then they started sending me photos of me that were edited and wrote the words "woman beater," which caused me to delete my social media accounts and create different ones. I know hitting women is wrong and I don't encourage it, but in my point of view, she hit me first and I got angry. But I am considering apologizing to her and getting over the entire issue. But what should I do? I'm looking forward to spending the holidays with my mother, but I wanted to keep you all up to date with the updates. So, am I the a-hole? Here are some relevant comments. OP replied to a deleted comment and said, "Yes, I did grab my stepsister, and it was wrong of me. And the dysfunctional part is a little true. And I will try to have a conversation, but with how things are looking, I don't think it would work. And I'm planning on leaving the country to live with my mother, but I still want to have a good relationship with my father and stepmother." User 2 said, "Move to France." OP said, "I'm going for the Christmas holidays and I'll talk to my mother about permanently staying with her." Update. Hello everyone, I'm very sorry that I couldn't respond to all of the comments posted here, but I did read some. Many people said not the a-hole, while many others said yes, I am the a-hole. This may be my last update, but I apologize for the late response. I had a lot of errands and packing to do. I'm leaving for France in the morning. As I'm typing this update, I'm currently rechecking my bags to see if I forgot anything. Since posting my original post, I have been sleeping and spending most of my time at my brother's apartment. I came home this morning because my father is dropping me off at the airport. My father and stepmother were home, along with my step-siblings. My stepmother only said a few words to me, while my step-siblings didn't say anything to me. I spent most of the day in my room, while my father checked in on me from time to time. At 8 p.m., I was called down to dinner. After dinner, I waited for my step-siblings to leave, and after they left, I apologized to my stepmother for slapping her and grabbing my stepsister. She responded by nodding her head, which I think meant she accepted it, but I didn't really care. After that, I turned to my father and told him my plan to stay permanently with my mother. He was shocked and asked if that's what I wanted. He said he would support me, to which I said okay and went to my room. Also, there were a few comments I saw that I wanted to address. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for sharing their input and advice, which I followed. To the people who said that I was the a-hole and I need to apologize, thank you for your inputs. I fully understand where you all are coming from. I was completely wrong for grabbing my stepsister and slapping my stepmother. Secondly, to all the people who said I need to ensure all my personal and important belongings were locked away and safe for my stepmother, I did follow your advice. I also had locks placed on my bedroom door. Thirdly, people were asking why I stayed living with my father and why I didn't move out. I recently graduated from high school. That's why I lived with my father, and I did have a job for a little while. I also want to address the people who said my father is an a-hole, which is not true. In the situation, he could have defended me, but my father is a wonderful guy. He is a great guy, and I was never misthreatened or shunned, even after my stepmother and her children moved in. But he could have handled the situation much better. But it is his wife. Once again, I want to thank everyone for their input and advice, and I want to say that I don't encourage men hitting women or women hitting men, but I want to say thanks. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And also, yes, I did get the bracelet back. So, are we just not going to talk about the fact that the stepmother here didn't really receive any consequences for stealing and encouraging stealing or not disciplining her child? Yeah, he probably shouldn't have slapped the lady. It was the heat of the moment, I understand. He still shouldn't have done it, but he apologized. And then this little prune uptight lady was like, oh, I'm just going to steal some jewelry and stuff? What? Huh? Man, move to France. Screw this lady. She's like the cliche terrible stepmom brings in terrible stepkids. Man, I hate cliches. Next story. Story number 2. Am I the a-hole for dropping a family secret bomb and then ghosting all 75 members of my family? Hi, I'll try to keep this brief, but there's a lot of history. I, 28F, am from one of those families that have a lot of people that all go to church and then dinner together. Cousins thick as thieves, sisters are best friends, etc. Everyone just hangs out with each other. Up until I married my husband, 30M, I was exactly the same and very close with everyone. Now, a quick insight into my bleak childhood. The close family belonged to my mother, who married several men over the course of my childhood, which is important later. My father, who had primary custody, was an angry druggie who was forcibly removed as my guardian by the state when I was 12. At the same time, my mom, L, 44F, married her final husband, B, 55M, who really stepped up to fit into a corny stepfather rom-com, where there's baseball in the park, wiping up makeup from breakups, shopping sprees, just dad stuff. I kept getting told he was a great dad, and we were so lucky to have a man to really be there for us. It was, supposedly, the cornerstone of his and my mom's relationship. He was a first responder too, just all around perfect. I heard it until I was grown up and moved out. But it turns out he had been molesting me every morning since I was 14. Yep, I never told anyone because I believed them. He was great, except in the morning. Fast forward to meeting my husband, basically he loved me through a lot of coping with my father's abuse. He didn't know about bees. And from the start, my family hated my now husband. Members of my family actively tried to break us up. I still don't understand, and through a lot of negativity, I grew distant with everyone outside of L, B, and my siblings. But I still see them for events like Christmas, Easter, etc. Then one night a few months ago, I felt the need to tell my husband about B, my stepfather. It had been bothering me ever since I had my daughter, and it came to a head. So I told him, and he reacted like a man who loves me the way he does. He cut all contact between himself, his family, and his children, and B. And he told me that the next move was up to me, and he'd support whatever I needed. So I decided to tell my mom the big truth. It was weeks later, and I'm still not sure if I did the right thing, or just hurt people for no reason. Well, my mama bear mother is still married to him, and plans to stay that way. She says he's changed, and why didn't I tell her when it happened, etc. That was not what I expected, and I was genuinely hurt that I was disregarded so clearly for someone who had hurt me and caused me a lot of trauma. So when I saw her again, I lost it. I yelled at her for a lot of things that I had felt that she had failed at. namely protecting me from my abusive father. She knew about the situation for 6+ years before charges were filed on him, and failing to value me now while protecting the stupid mama bear image. While I felt better and left, I haven't spoken to anyone but my one sibling since. The problem is I lost it in the middle of a family game night where almost all my extended family was in attendance. So now the secret's out and I feel no need to talk to any of them ever again, as everyone wanted to keep it in the family and for me to maintain a relationship with my mother. My husband's family, however, has treated me so much better than any of them. But maybe they deserve an explanation. Maybe I shouldn't have told my secret because my mom says that she's changed. I'm not sure, but it makes me feel more justified having written it down. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I appreciate the kind words. I'm feeling a lot of love. The part that does make me feel like the a-hole, however, is me waiting so long to talk. Like they even almost divorced a few times, and I didn't say anything. It must seem pretty out of the blue to everyone, and none of my siblings are on speaking terms over it anymore. The whole family fell apart. I feel like it's petty to bring it up now, but I think you might disagree with me. Thanks again. Update. I appreciate everyone's advice, love, and validation. I do have an update for you all as I've had some contact from my family and a few developments. I'm not sure if this is the way to do an update or not, but here goes. A few people wanted clarification on past deeds of B, my stepfather. As far as I know, I am the first person he targeted, and I think it's unlikely he would repeat offend without the same access he had to me. But better safe than sorry, and he will remain no contact until he rots. My husband has had contact with him to deliver a severe message of warning to stay away, but nothing since. As for pressing charges, this man, B, this monster in a hero's cloak, is a prominent member of the community and local police department. I fear not getting far, and that I will just bring more drama that I just want to let go of. Legal battles would lead me to years of him still controlling what my life is about. Maybe it's selfish to not charge him, but it's more work than I have energy to give. But if things begin to derail, I have it in my back pocket. Many expressed that others might have come forward, and boy did they. To save the people involved, I'll just boil it down to 3 separate family members have outed abusers, including myself and a younger sibling. I have had contact with several people older than me from my family who have told me to forgive my mom. She didn't do anything, and it's not my business who she's married to. So I think I'm going to stay no contact with the lot of them. My husband has been my rock. He's told me many of the same things you all have said. But it's hard to look at what happened to me and see that it was a horrible situation. It was my norm, I guess, and it's hard to rewire my brain to have the proper amount of disgust and downplay what happened in my own brain. But I would like to thank you all for helping me see that I am worth outrage over this. Much love to all of you for taking the time to support a stranger. Well, this seems like a relatively good ending. It seems as if things are on the up and up, and maybe, hopefully, she goes to therapy at some point. And as she mentioned near the end there, her brain was wired to see what was happening to her as normal. And when you're that young and that impressionable, and you're kept being told that the guy who's doing this to you is a great guy, is a great stepfather, is a great male role model, and you're that young and impressionable, then why would you think otherwise, right? The sky's blue, why make a comment about it? But clearly, it is wrong. And I'm now glad that she is at the point where she can recognize that it is wrong. She's gotten away from the people who are doing the wrong things to her and has a great support system in her husband and a few other people. And also, screw the mom, mama bear my ass, screw you lady, next story. Story number 3. My 20M friend, 22M, wants me to step aside so he can try to date my not girlfriend, 18F. Long version. A little over 3 years ago, I had just gotten out of a relationship with a girl who was really abusive. I broke up with her shortly before I graduated high school and wanted to take some time to focus on myself. Of course, a few weeks after the breakup, I meet the most gorgeous girl I've ever met, and we really hit it off. I will refer to her as Lisa. She had also just gotten out of an abusive relationship, so neither of us were looking for anything serious. At the time, my driver's license was suspended. Too much speeding, bad time in my life, learned my lesson, and my friend, we'll call him Ken, would offer to drive me to see her. For a few months, we would mostly just all hang out together, because we all got along really well. And she and I would just mostly cuddle up if we were all watching a movie together. Sometimes we would sneak off for a few minutes to make out a little, but not long because we didn't want to be rude to Ken. Lisa and Ken developed their own friendship during this time, but it was obviously platonic on both ends. like an older brother, younger sister dynamic. Ken also had a girlfriend of 4 years at the time, but they were hanging on by a thread. After 6 months, I got my license back, and I would go to see Lisa and take her out without Ken. At that point, Lisa and I started having sex. We both really liked each other, but I panicked and sort of ghosted her for a few weeks. Lisa and Ken continued talking, and he said he wasn't going to stop being friends with her because I was being an idiot. Fair enough. I realized I was being stupid, and Lisa agreed to see me again. We immediately picked right back up where we left off. Around this time, Ken and his girlfriend broke up, so I moved with him. I would go see Lisa a few times a week, and she would come to our place on the weekends, and we would all hang out. That continued for several more months until she ghosted me for about 2 weeks. She told Ken she was worried I would bail again, and she did not want to go through the pain again. We worked it out, but embarrassingly, this cycle has since repeated once or twice. Not in over a year though. Over the last year especially, mostly since she turned 18, I've noticed Ken has acted differently around Lisa. He'll flirt with her in front of me. She's very friendly with him, but does not flirt back and pulls away when he touches her. I told him I don't like it, but he said it doesn't matter if he flirts with her, she loves me. She says she doesn't feel that way about Ken at all, and everything indicates the truth. Ken has also started drinking more lately, and the other night, Lisa was not here, he started whining about life not being fair. So I took the bait and asked what was wrong, and he started rambling about how Lisa is too good for me and I don't deserve her. I agree, but it still pissed me off. He then told me he is in love with her and has been for a while, and if I cared for either of them at all, I'd step aside so he could pursue her. I didn't want to argue with him while he was drunk, so I went to bed. I confronted him in the morning, and he doubled down. He said that I can't commit. I can't give her what she wants and needs. She isn't my girlfriend, and she is fair game to try and date. Am I wrong for thinking this is messed up? Lisa and I do have an unconventional relationship, I will admit. We don't refer to each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, but we don't sleep with other people. We tell each other we love each other. She usually stays at my place, and we have a good relationship with each other's families. I think we're pretty happy together. I know she doesn't want to be with him, so I'm not worried about that. But since Ken said those things, I can't help but question if I'm being unfair to Lisa by holding her back with me. Edit. I did tell Lisa everything Ken said about her and our relationship immediately. She is not interested in him and has been making her uncomfortable. Also, because it's been asked a few times, Lisa and I have always been on the same page as far as labeling our relationship. And I'm aware that she is her own person and can be with whoever, whenever. Ken is the only one treating this as some competition. Here are some relevant comments. This is OP on his relationship with Lisa. When we started sleeping together, we did have a conversation and agreed we didn't want to sleep with or date other people. But we also didn't want to put a label on our relationship. We do discuss it occasionally and have always been on the same page. But we've gotten a lot more serious in the last year. The more I type it out though, the dumber it seems to not make things more official. Ken is obviously free to try his luck, but she said she's not interested. If anything, he'll just mess up his friendship with her. OP on telling Ken Lisa is not interested. This morning I did talk to him again and told him what she said to me, with her permission, which was essentially that his advances have been making her uncomfortable, and if he wants to maintain any friendship with us, then he's got to roll things back to how they used to be. He said he won't believe it until he hears her say it herself, without me around. I'm conflicted on that, because I don't want to come across as controlling, but also worry about his reaction when she rejects him. Update. I wanted to thank everyone that took the time to respond to my post and update anyone who might be interested in the outcome. I have been staying with Lisa for about a week now, since the initial confrontation with Ken, and thanks to people here, I was sure I wanted to ask her if she wanted to make things more official. She ended up making things even easier for me. As luck would have it, Lisa asked me if it might make things easier if I just told Ken she was my girlfriend. I jumped on that opportunity and asked if I could tell everyone she is my girlfriend, and she said yes. She and I are going to look at a few apartments this week, since I obviously need a new living situation, and we want to move in together. Ken and I had a few brief discussions after he told me he wanted to be with Lisa. I had told her everything Ken had said to me, and she was not the least bit interested in him, which I had assumed. I also told him that she is officially my girlfriend now, so that should satisfy his concerns about me not committing to her. He refused to believe any of it without confirmation from her in person, without me around. She initially agreed to meet with him on Sunday with the plan that they would meet at her house since she lives with her mom and stepdad, but he rejected that, saying he wanted to meet at the apartment without me there. She told him she wasn't comfortable with that. If he wanted to meet up without me or her parents there, they at least had to be somewhere public. He got pissed that his threatening behavior made her feel threatened and went berserk and called her every name in the book. She told him she wasn't going to see him again at all and blocked his number. He has tried reaching out to me a few times, ranging from sad to aggressive, and I'm about a text or two away from blocking him as well. Hopefully, he'll just move on and it won't come to that. Again, thank you to the posters who helped me navigate this situation. Edit. To clarify, we both wish him well, but neither of us want to continue a friendship with him under any circumstances. Since posting this update, I have also blocked him. I agree with posters that there is no point in keeping any lines of communication open anymore. I have also reached out to some friends to help get the rest of my stuff out, but I was already able to get everything important when I first left. He can make a shrine out of my old shirts if he really wants. Here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, "Dude, this guy is a creep, and it sounds like he wanted to do something bad to Lisa when they were alone, to be honest. Just cut him out of your life." OP said, "I agree. I understood him not wanting me in the room or getting his heart broken in the middle of a Starbucks or something, but him rejecting her parents' house when they've always been friendly with him was a big red flag for us." User 1 then said, "I think you need to drop this friend at this point. He obviously isn't as good of a guy as you thought he was. Choose your girlfriend, not the guy that seems to want to sexually assault her." OP replied, "I don't even think I'm going back to the apartment to get the rest of my stuff. I hope he's able to get his life together, but I can't help him at this point. If he does try to contact her again, then she's going to try to get a restraining order. I've also told mutual friends what is happening and that he can't know where our new apartment will be under any circumstances." And the final comment from OP. "Okay, so my stuff is out, thanks to two of my friends who are also friends of Ken. Friend A tried ahead of time to convince Ken to leave so we could get everything out without him, but it wasn't happening. Ken said he wanted to make sure I didn't mess with his stuff, which is ironic since he tried messing with my relationship. Friend A then offered to act as a buffer so friend B and I could get my stuff out. When we first got to the apartment, Ken was obviously drunk but calm and seemed almost apologetic. I had already decided I wasn't going to engage with him at all, because I don't see the point anymore. He did not like being ignored apparently, and started going off, gradually saying worse and worse stuff. He then started saying things about Lisa, but I was able to ignore him and let it roll off my back until he told me I might need to F her up and get her in line. He knows her ex before me was abusive. I am very thankful for my friends being there to help me get out of there quickly, because I have never been so angry like that in my life. 1, 2, 3. I'm just Ken. I drink all day, and Lisa won't be my friend. What will it take to solve this heartache that keeps on beating? Bum bum bum. I'm just Ken. My roommate moved out. I won't see him again. What will it take for her to agree to my private meeting? Bum bum bum. Yeah, Ken is sus here. He would meet Lisa in a dark alley if he could. I'm just saying. All right, I'm done. Bye-bye.